We did the first one in the Americas in 2021. We started in Europe in 2022 to see that more global exposure. We have some from Brazil, Japan. I mean, our entries were from all over the place. So it really was global, which made it pretty exciting for us.
Hey, this is Jesse here, and this is the 2025 edition of the SBC First Pitch preview episode. In this one, you'll meet the 5 finalists that will compete live on stage at the SBC Summit in Lisbon on September 18th for a prize package valued at over 90,000 euros. And joining us once again to help set the stage for First Pitch is the one and only Schneider, who gives us some insight into this year's event, as well as her perspective on what she's seeing across the industry startup landscape. By the way, if you still need your ticket to the SBC Summit, look in the show notes below for a discount code worth 300 euros, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon at the greatest show in iGaming. The Betting Startups podcast is presented by Optimove, the creator of positionless marketing and the #1 player engagement platform. Positionless marketing gives every marketer the power to execute any marketing task instantly and independently, and Optimove Ignite Plus is its program to support early-stage iGaming startups. If you're attending SBC Summit in Lisbon this September, you can find Optimove at stand A555 and tell them that Betting Startups sent you to receive your first month free. All right, we're back here on the Betting Startups podcast, and in the sure sign that summer is winding down, we're zooming in on the upcoming First Pitch competition that will be held on September 18th at the SBC Summit in Lisbon. And for the second year in a row to help kick this off, joined by my friend Sue Schneider, who's helping SBC coordinate the First Pitch competition behind the scenes. Sue, I actually saw you a few days ago in Las Vegas, where we saw our dear friend Paris Smith get inducted into the Sports Gambling Hall of Fame. And as always, great to see you there. But for the audience who hasn't heard from you on this podcast in almost a year, back when you launched Defy the Odds alongside Paris and Kelly, give us a quick update on how things are going with you and the various initiatives you're involved with.
Sure. Defy the Odds is a launch pad for startups in the industry. And I think the part that is most interesting is that we are launching in early September a community online platform. It's called Empower. And it's meant to bring really all aspects of that ecosystem, whether it's startups, investors, suppliers, subject matter experts, regulators. We kind of want to see as much dynamic discussion and information sharing and debate and things like that that will come through. So we're pretty excited about that. We've been beta testing it a little bit over the summer. Had a great intern that worked with us on getting all the bugs out, so we're about ready to launch that.
Awesome. And I have been part of the beta program, so it's been great to see some of the initial engagement in that community, and would obviously, for anybody listening, really encourage them to participate in that when it does launch. So keep your eyes on Defy the Odds. But we're here to talk First Pitch, Sue. It's been just over 24 hours since the 5 finalists were announced. And one thing that struck me immediately was the fact that the 5 finalists all come from different countries, spanning across, I think, 3 different continents. And you know, SBC Summit at large has always been very global in focus. So this year is great to see that diversity reflected amongst this year's finalists. As somebody who's also spending a lot of their time focused on nurturing the industry's startups and early stage ecosystem, can you share some insight on what you're seeing out there based on both the applications for this year's edition of First Pitch, as well as your work at Defy the Odds?
Yeah, I think what we're finding is that there are a lot of people that are just attacking innovation really from all aspects, whether it's marketing, whether it's data, whether it's actual operations, just a whole wide range of things that are, emerging out there, which is really fun. I think, as you said, with First Pitch, we did the first one in the Americas in 2021. We started in Europe in 2022. So we've been doing these annually. And to see that more global exposure, we have some from Brazil, Japan. I mean, our entries were from all over the place. So it really was global, which made it pretty exciting for us. But I think, one of the things that I personally am working on with Defy the Odds is looking at how, there's always kind of a conundrum in terms of being in the regulated gaming market and the minefields that come in there. It really is inhibiting a lot of innovation in startups because of the cost, compliance costs, licensing cost, all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, that's something I personally tried to work on. We actually have a session on that at G2E where we're looking at trying to look at what kind of options are out there for startups that will help them kind of get past those regulatory hurdles. So that part's interesting to me. I'm a policy wonk at heart, so I love that part.
And for startups that are planning to attend the SBC Summit for the first time in a few weeks, is there any tips or advice that you can share with them to help maximize their ROI on attending, or maybe any sessions or particular content there that might be well suited for founders that are attending?
I think there are a couple of academies that are new to the schedule this year. There's one on marketing, there's one on AI. So I would really look through and kind of pick through where they think they can take best use of their time from a content standpoint. There's also a startup zone, which has, offered some physical space on the show floor to startups in a very reasonable and budget-friendly manner. So, I would suggest that people come by there. Actually, Defy the Odds is getting a booth there also. So come and see us. I think trying to just kind of be in that general vicinity. I'm pretty sure there are also some sessions related to investment, which is always a challenge for startups. But I would say really look over the content, see what makes the most sense for you. Feel free to go to those and really take advantage of the networking. There's a variety of things. I know for women that are coming, we have a whole women's empowerment initiative that's going on where we have a number of meetups. So it really, take advantage of the networking because that's probably the biggest place to be able to find some like-minded folks.
And as a reminder, Betting Startups is a strategic media partner of the SBC Summit, and we have a discount code available to get you 50% off your ticket for SBC Summit. Look in the show notes below for that discount code and link to get your ticket. But for now, Sue, thank you for joining us to help tee up this episode. I look forward to seeing you in a few short weeks. And let's go ahead and meet the 5 finalists of this year's SBC Summit First Pitch competition. All right, to kick it off with me, I am joined by Alexey from AI Stats, a previous podcast guest who joined us almost a year ago. Give us a quick elevator pitch and tell us what it is you're building and what the overall value proposition is.
Yeah, hi Jesse, thanks for having me today. Basically, AI Stats is an ecosystem of advanced metrics, different prediction models, and other nice tools and products for football fans and professionals. Soccer, if we talk about the people overseas. So basically, our goal is to deliver the best and the most advanced insights to any football stakeholder in the world. And to make this real, we analyze a bunch of data from different data points and create our own original metrics that can be used in different use cases.
Awesome, Alexey. And by the way, I didn't say it, but congratulations on being named a finalist for the First Pitch competition. In a few weeks, when we all arrive to Lisbon, you'll have 3 minutes up on stage there to present AI Stats to the panel of experts and judges. Give us a bit of sense of how you're preparing for this and how you plan to maximize the opportunity.
Yeah, being honest, 3 minute speeches is not my favorite kind of sport, but being a startup founder, you have to master this art definitely. And from our side, how we usually approach it, we usually try to maximize our upsides in terms of recent achievements, what kind of metrics we achieve, what kind of user experience we provide, what kind of potential new features we're gonna bring. And the other part, we usually try to persuade investors that it's not only about the current success, it's also about the future upside that they may get in 1, 2, 3 years. Because in the venture capital world, it is usually very important, not just only your current situation, but how big is your market, what's your competition, and how basically you can scale up. And from my experience of pitching to investors and raising money from angels and venture funds already, so it's basically about how clear is your vision and how clear is your go-to-market strategy, how you're gonna conquer the world. So it's not only about the current status and the current metrics in the end.
And speaking of metrics, Alexey, I just checked, it was about 8 months ago you were on the podcast last December. So give us some insight into the progress, the traction, any notable updates since you were on 8 months ago. What's been going on in that time? And as importantly, with all of the new European football leagues kicking off, what's the plans here for the coming months to maximize the new seasons?
Obviously, the soccer season, the football season is starting and everything is boosting also for us. We've been preparing for this new season for the last 3-4 months, delivering new features talking to users, conducting surveys constantly, implementing a new pipeline of feedback from users. Everything basically worked pretty well. Even from the last weekend, we see pretty good results. So we believe that there is a really good momentum right now to go and to talk to investors and to go for the seed round, which we plan to announce in several months. Since last time we talked, I assume in November or December last year, obviously we increased, I think, like tenfold or something, because like the pace was pretty low. But these days we are doing pretty well. We were like standing on the same place for like during the course of winter, because we were doing a lot of R&D, considering like what's our, vision and what kind of features we want to implement. So since then we did a lot of work, and right now we are seeing like first fruits on this tree. And moreover, one important thing to add is that we are diversifying. We are producing an additional product, which is to be released in 1-2 months, I assume. This product will be focused mostly on football professionals, but also will be closely related to data.
Excellent, Alexey. Well, congratulations once again on being named a finalist, and look forward to seeing you in a few short weeks and wishing you all the best for your pitch at SBC Summit.
Thanks, Jesse. See you soon.
All right, next up, I am joined by Bruno from Betpass. Bruno, congratulations on being named a finalist in the SBC First Pitch competition. Give the audience a bit of a preview of your pitch and tell us what Betpass does and what the overall value proposition is of your product.
So we created Betpass 2 years ago. We started with a B2C company connecting affiliate tipsters with players, but as a bootstrap company, it's hard to make it. So we changed our model more than 5 times, and now we are here doing what we are doing. So Betpass is a tech company. We started last year as an affiliate network, but we decided to create our own affiliate platform to manage our affiliates. And now, after 1.5 years, we started not using the tech only for us, but we also provide this platform to more than 20 other affiliates networks. But basic, what do you actually do? We offer a white label tech for launching and managing affiliate network, even if they are starting from scratch. So we provide all the infrastructure to help these affiliate networks to attract and onboard high quality affiliates, develop and empower them to reach maximum performance, ensure compliance and prevent fraud in real time, automate and simplify payments, and also track performance with full transparency. But why are we different? What is our unfair advantage? We are not just a tracker. We take care of all the affiliate journey and provide a complete marketplace of opportunities to our partners. Well, as I said, it all started with a challenge, building the best platform to run our own affiliates network. And now we have more than 20 partners fully integrated. So our tech does the hard work to let our partners focus on their core business. And now, well, we are going further with profitability achieved in a fully bootstrap model. The time has come to elevate Betpass to global prominence. So we are ready to expand into new countries and explore untapped market segments. And this is Betpass, your all-access pass to affiliate success. Yeah, that's it.
Tell us a bit about how you are preparing for the presentation in Lisbon. When you get there in September, you'll be up on stage there. You have 3 minutes to tell your story to the experts and the judges. What are you doing to prepare yourself to maximize the opportunity?
3 minutes is very hard to tell everything that I need, but I am preparing during all this year because we were selected to the final pitch competition in ICE Barcelona in January this year. We also were selected to B Sigma, and we already won this one. And the last one was the IGB London. We were selected to the final two, and we won this one. So at ICE Barcelona, it was very painful because 3-4 minutes, it's hard to summarize everything. In BIS and BIS Sigma São Paulo and IGB London, I had 4 minutes, so 1 minute makes a difference. But I think the pitch is already constructed because we are month by month going to the same direction. Because, as I said, we started in 2023 making a lot of changes, trying to find our business model, and now we are going to the same direction. So I guess it will be pleasure to go to be again with a lot of good companies, and maybe we win the third this year.
Well, for people watching this on video, I see behind you, Bruno, up on your shelf, you do have some trophies up there, which includes the award you won at the Sigma Pitch competition. So as you say, maybe you could make some new space for another new trophy if things go well for you in Lisbon. Final quick question for you before we let you go. You're based in Brazil, and as most of the audience will know, the Brazilian market launched last fall. So it's almost been 1 year now. And that has been your focus so far. I understand you have ambitions to expand and become more global in nature. But with your focus on the Brazilian market, what can you tell us about what the market is like there for affiliates? Is there a lot of opportunity right now, or what are you seeing there on the ground from the affiliate perspective in Brazil?
Yeah, that's a nice question. Well, affiliates here in Brazil are responsible for over 70% of the first-time depositors, making them the backbone of the iGaming industry. But this crucial sector faces fragmentation, lack of differentiation, and now, as you said, new regulatory challenges. So it's the perfect moment to invest, to create new solutions here in Brazil, because we are a country that are just starting the iGaming sector, the iGaming market. So we have a lack of tech, we have a lot of opportunities, and that's why we are focused on Brazil to improve our tech, to improve our solutions here before we go globally. Because here in Brazil, we have a lot of challenges with the affiliate market, because we have a lot of people here in Brazil that want to be an affiliate, but they don't know how to be an affiliate, but they know someone that it's making money with affiliate market. And so we have a lot of space here, and it's the perfect moment to come.
All right, Bruno. Well, I appreciate you joining us here today and sharing a bit about Betpass, and looking forward to seeing you in person in a short few weeks in Lisbon, and wishing you much success when you pitch to the judges at First Pitch. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Jesse.
Next up on the First Pitch preview episode, I am joined by Josh from ChatBet AI. Josh, welcome to the podcast. How are you feeling here today on the back of the announcement of ChatBet being named a finalist in the First Pitch competition?
Honestly, super excited. I can't stop smiling. I'm so proud of the team for helping me get here and for putting up with me. It's honestly super excited. I'm excited and seeing it as a milestone and achievement for all the hard work we've put in. But I also want to thank you guys for having me on the podcast. I love your podcast. I remember last year listening to all the other founders do this, and I didn't think I would be one of them coming up a year later. Also listened to your podcast with Reed Rooney, and he was talking about the founder journey, right? So that's exactly what I'm going on, and I can relate a lot to that. And to come on and be on your podcast is amazing. And obviously thanks to SBC and First Pitch for making this happen, giving me the stage to tell everyone about ChatBet. I'm super excited.
Well, what a difference a year makes, Josh. You're here now. You're a finalist. Give the audience a bit of a preview of the pitch that you plan to be delivering to the judges in Lisbon, and give them a sense of what it is you're building at ChatBet AI.
So ChatBet AI, we open up a new revenue channel for operators by allowing players to place bets directly within messaging apps such as WhatsApp or Telegram. We can even do it with messaging service such as Intercom and LivePerson. We've already built and tested an MVP. The results were incredible. We're talking 20% turnover, 35+% in new bettors, plus 15% in 90-day retention, and a 30% increase in average wages. And that was an MVP. It didn't have the ability to interact with it. It was just a menu. We then tested version 1, which had AI capability and conversational messaging. That was amazing. You're talking in just 72 hours, over 500% in signups, over 3,000% in activity, and increased average wages by 100%. So really excited by that. And that was version 1. Version 2 is being tested now, and I'm excited to show people version 2 in a few weeks.
And look, when you get there, you have 3 minutes up on stage to present the concept and compel the judges to declare you the winner. What are you doing to prepare yourself to make the most of that opportunity and really maximize the message that you're going to be delivering in that very short 3-minute period?
Yeah, three minutes isn't a long time at all, right? And I think that's the exciting part. That's the challenge. I think I want to get across to the audience to see our plug and play product and why Meta are backing us and why they're seeing us as their way into what they're calling the messaging plus real money gaming industry. I want the audience, no matter if they're an investor, an operator, a platform, someone that's been in the industry 30 years or someone that's been in the industry for a few days, I want them to see the product. I want them to feel it, and I want it to spark a conversation. So I'm really excited to the opportunity to be given here on the podcast from SBC, and obviously Soft2Bet for sponsoring. And I just want for people to see the product, see what we believe is the future of sports betting. We believe that web betting is dead. You could even say front end is dead because you're using a messaging app. So that's what I want to get across.
Excellent, Josh. Well, look, congratulations again on being named as a finalist, and of course, wishing you all the best when you get up on stage there, and look forward to continuing to follow the ChatBet story.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Joining me next here on the First Pitch preview episode, I am joined by the marketing genius himself, winner of a Golden Tide at the Starties earlier this year. I have Will Martin from LiveDuel. Will, how are you keeping, my friend?
Yeah, all good here. How are you, Jesse?
Doing well, thank you. We had you on the podcast back in March, so much of the audience will be familiar with you and the LiveDuel story, but let's assume a couple people haven't yet heard of you. Give us a quick elevator pitch on what it is you're building with LiveDuel and what the value proposition is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're building a decentralized prediction market for sports. The TLDR, or the simplified version of that, is we're building on-chain, and we allow people to make predictions on outcomes of the future, focusing on sports. Soccer is really, really big for us, so we're focusing on adding more leagues as we build up towards the World Cup next summer, which is going to be our big main focus. So everything is on chain. So everything is more user friendly, more user empowerment. So our big goal really is to empower the community to be active participants on both sides of the market. So you can stake into a liquidity pool and get exposure as being the house, or you can make predictions like you would on any traditional betting platform. And we're really looking to see how we can join content, sports prediction or sports betting, and blockchain together to really build a community-focused, community-first platform of the future.
And when you get to Lisbon, Will, you're up on stage there at First Pitch, you get your 3 minutes, and it's not a lot of time, and you have, arguably a lot of components to the platform you're building here. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? Give us a bit of a look behind the curtain here at Will Martin's preparation regime.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of work between now and then. It's obviously all about kind of simplifying and breaking down what it is that we're trying to convey, because as you say, 3 minutes is not a lot of time to convey everything that you're building. I guess it's to kind of give a snapshot into some of the things that we're building. Obviously, we're building and innovating on the technology side, so we need to focus on that. Obviously, we did a lot of interesting stuff as well on the marketing side, focusing on content creators, providing them with filters and different live streaming tools so they can make better sports content faster, that we can kind of piggyback on that kind of distribution. So it's going to be a lot of work really in terms of the deck and the visuals. So I think that's super important to put your best foot forward, but a lot of it comes down to what it is I'm going to be saying. So we've got a lot of experience in crafting decks that kind of go out to potential investors, potential partners that you don't get to present. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on kind of crafting that messaging, seeing what kind of resonates. Thankfully, I've got a lot of great mentors and people in my network that have given me great solid feedback in the past on being able to present, and especially with that kind of time limit. So there's going to be lots of drafts and redrafting and me speaking into a camera and a microphone between now and pitch day.
Look, you were on the pod back in March. We sat down in New York the morning after the Starties, which was, 5 months ago now. Time seems to fly. Give us a bit of an update on progress over the last 5 months, maybe any notable milestones you wish to share. What's life looked like for you since our sit down last March in New York?
Yeah, it's always busy, so never a dull moment really in startup life. So for the Club World Cup, we went live with our testnet product. So it's taken us a long time to get to that point. So it was a really proud moment for myself and the team to get something out into the hands, out into the real world, that people are able to, sign up, create a digital wallet, get some free tokens and make predictions. So that's been a huge, kind of milestone, stake in the ground that we've actually built some really cool technology that we're looking to scale up into the future. We've kind of added the Women's Euros as well. It was great to see some great adoption there as well. More live in-play predictions happening there, which is quite interesting. We did a couple of live in-person events in Brazil as well at the start of June, which are really, really interesting because we're looking to see if we can test loads of different kind of marketing experiments with the view to the World Cup next summer. So we hosted 2 events in Sao Paulo, put $100 worth of free bets in people's hands, got 62 signups. So it was really, really great return on investment for us there. But then once we added the Brazilian League, we absolutely blew the Club World Cup and the Women's Euros out of the water. Last week, we added the Premier League, and Brazil is still outperforming the Premier League numbers. So that's really interesting to kind of see how we can kind of marry in-person events, activation, and then kind of leading with the prediction markets after that. So we've got a couple of interesting and exciting potential partnerships in the works as well. Hopefully I'll be able to announce those at SBC, but it's very much around the social media distribution kind of side of things. So I won't say too much now in case I get myself in trouble for saying too much too early, but those are some of the interesting milestones from our perspective.
Well, that's a lot of progress in a short amount of time. Not surprising coming from you. Final one before I let you get out of here, Will. You just made reference to the start of the new Premier League season. Who you have to finish top of the table when we get to next spring?
Kind of hard to say as a Spurs fan, we're the best team or the worst team who didn't get relegated last year. So as long as we kind of move up the table, I'll be happy. Obviously, Liverpool are the kind of runaway leaders, but I'd be quite interested in looking at the handicap market. Some of the teams there look like they could be really, really strong. Man City are a team that you can never kind of rule out. So I think the bookies have them as like 9 points off Liverpool. I think it's going to be a lot tighter than that. So I would have had Chelsea in there as well. But yeah, they didn't get off to too good of a hot start yesterday. So I'm going to sit on the fence and say it's between one of the big four that it's always between.
Fair enough, Will. Well, look, congratulations again on getting named as a finalist for the SBC First Pitch competition. Look forward to seeing you in a few short weeks in Lisbon, and safe travels there, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. See you in Lisbon.
All right, and taking us home today for the First Pitch preview episode, I'm joined by Keigo from Nandemo Draft. Keigo, congratulations on being named a finalist at the SBC First Pitch competition. For the audience, maybe you could tell us a bit about what Nandemo Draft is, and maybe use this as an opportunity to practice your pitch that you'll be delivering in Lisbon.
Thank you very much, Jesse. We are so happy to be on this. We are honored to be on this finalist. So Nandemo Draft is a Japanese company, and we are Japan's #1 social sports betting provider. And we as a company has two different roles. One as a sports prediction service operator, and another as a local partner for international sports betting operators to enter the Japanese market, which will be as big as $100 billion in a few years. As I said before, we are the #1 Japanese prediction service operator. We actually have both online and land-based products. And put simply, we offer social fantasy sports and sports betting service, which didn't exist in Japan before we launched. And we were recognized for creating new ways of enjoying sports and received an innovation award from the Japanese government. And by using our service, fans predict high-performing players and game results, and top users can receive special gifts like players signed uniforms and making fan experience unforgettable. So just to give you an overall picture of what the Japanese market is, the sports betting itself is not legalized yet, but our service or the business model is 100% legal and secure. And that's why our service is widely used by over 100 sport teams in Japan. We have built credibility, and because of our security, everyone trusts and all the fans are engaged by using our service. And on top of that, because there's a lot of movements towards legalization of sports betting, and I can clearly see a lot of interest, international interest into Japanese market. And one of the reasons why we are so excited about pitching SBC Summit is that we will be center of all the industrial professionals who may be interested in the Japanese market, and we will be able to, help them expand their reach to Asian and especially the Japanese market.
That's awesome, Keigo. And look, I think you might be the first guest I've had on the podcast that's really focused on the Japanese market. Give us a bit of insight, I guess, into the local market and just what the end consumer looks for with products like this.
So, like I said, the sports betting is not legalized yet. However, there are some exceptions. Exceptions being racing activities like horse racing, cycling, and motorcycle and boat racing. Those 4 types of racings are permitted for users to bet. And those are the only 4 activities. But on the other hand, the largest sports in Japan is baseball, followed by soccer and basketball. And those are not permitted for users to bet. So this 4 racing activities alone makes massive opportunity, massive market opportunity. It's already making $50 billion of market. And once those, the major sports will be legalized, another $50 billion market will be born on top of what we already have. And Japanese people, I think, making predictions about what they're watching in front of them makes everyone engaged. And Japanese people, there's a tradition that people love to make predictions and watch. That kind of extends to, beyond sports industry. There's a lot of media that's incentivize users to kind of make predictions while they're watching TVs or live streamings. And so I feel like there's so much fit to sports betting to the broader audience in Japan.
And just with regards to the regulatory framework, you mentioned sports betting, generally speaking, is not yet regulated in Japan. Is there any sense right now as to if and when that might change? Is there movement happening at a legislative level in Japan right now to maybe, introduce a regulatory framework? Give us a bit of insight into how sports betting may potentially expand in the Japanese market.
Yeah, so since 2024, crackdown by the law enforcement has started. It has previously, those sports betting in like baseball and other major sports were like gray market. So it's becoming an issue, really big issues. Close to 350 million physically living in Japan are betting illegally. And that because we are not regulated, there's no way for the government to protect them from happening that's why the crackdown has started since last year to make sure that it's no longer gray market, it's black market. So we're going to crack down this and then in the future so that we can, create a white and clean market. And so that happened back in 2024, still ongoing. And also there's some regulatory movement. So the existing sports business law has been amended back in June 2025. And there's a new regulation that was enacted at the same time. And so there's a lot of movements going on. And personally thinking, I cannot really say anything for sure in terms of when the sports betting gets legalized in Japan. But we are looking at in the next 2 to 3 years at the earliest. And I hope that will be, materialized.
Well, sounds like you're well positioned for when that day eventually comes. In the meantime, Keigo, obviously in a few weeks, we'll all be in Lisbon at the SBC Summit. What are you doing to prepare yourself to maximize that opportunity? What does your preparations look like to maximize the 3 minutes that you'll have up on stage?
Preparation, just be me, I guess. I'm one of the co-founders and I'm pretty confident and comfortable with pitching our business idea. But what I'm excited about the SBC Summit is we can, directly talk to investors or partners, also the users. And so we want to get, and we have an opportunity to exhibit our company booth so we can get user feedback and product validation from global markets. And also creating sales opportunities and distributors, maybe retailers for the land-based products. That's going to blow up everyone's mind, I hope. And also the maximizing media exposure and brand awareness, just like what we are doing right now.
Awesome, Keigo. Well, this brings us to the end of the First Pitch preview episode. So thanks to you and the other finalists and wishing all 5 of you the best of luck in Lisbon. I look forward to seeing you there soon.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Jesse.
The Betting Startups podcast is presented by Optimove, the creator of Positionless Marketing and the #1 player engagement platform. Positionless marketing gives every marketer the power to execute any marketing task instantly and independently. And Optimove Ignite Plus is its program to support early-stage iGaming startups. If you're attending SBC Summit in Lisbon this September, you can find Optimove at stand A555 and tell them that Betting Startups sent you to receive your first month free.